Go. Awesome, guys. Welcome to our Kenya Impact Marathon 101. I'm just going to give it a little bit of time, just so other people can join. Anyone who's running late, all of the normal stuff that we're used to now that we live in a world of webinars and Zoom calls. Yep, we're just going to leave you here with a bit of a picture. This is actually taken from just in the south of the country at Amboseli National, just outside Amboseli National Park, one of the safaris. I was lucky enough to head down there once, and this shot is one of those shots that you dream of being able to take, and gives you a good idea of the beauty of the country and the acacia trees, and that flat top that's just so iconic in Kenya and across East Africa, across the region. On the call today, as panelists, we've got Bethany, who is part of the Impact team and who leads up the logistics of our races. Bethany's joined by Holly, who has been helping us and working with us in both, 3 races now Holly's done. They've both done 3 races, Malawi, Nepal, and Guatemala. So they'll be pulling together the questions and answering those throughout. So if you've got any questions throughout, please throw them in. I won't necessarily answer them as we go, but I've got time at the end, and I will cover that and cover all of your questions at the end, just as we did with the Guatemala one. I see a few people who are on that call as well, so you'll know how it goes. So put in your questions. If there's anything really pertinent, Bethany will interrupt me and shout at me and tell me that this is a good question to answer. But apart from that, we'll come to all of the questions at the end, or we'll answer them on the chat as we go. We've also got Hannah here. Hannah works at 5 Talents, which is the organization that we've been working with every year since we started the Kenya race. It was actually their idea to take a race to Kenya. So it's really awesome that Hannah's been able to join us. So just as a really quick brief overview of the Impact Marathon series, we set up in 2015 with a dream that we could use running as a tool to uplift communities and empower individuals all over the world. It started with a race in Nepal in 2015. Since then, we've grown up to 5 countries. We've had over 400 people travel from around the world to our races. We've had thousands from in-country runners as well joining our races. We've managed to build something really amazing, and it's been a great adventure and a great journey. The best part is now seeing so many of the Impact runners returning to 2nd and 3rd races, and it's basically like meeting up with great friends and family in a new country, in a new airport as we arrive in each country. In that time, we've done 13 races. We've raised $1.2 million for different grassroots organizations. Our races have tackled 7 of the 17 global goals. In 2015, I laid out this vision that we could hit all 17 of the global goals, and I'm still hell-bent on making that happen. But we want to do it in a way that is listening to communities, and our impact and the goals that we have as an organization are always community-led. So as you can see, we've now got races in Guatemala, Malawi, Jordan, Nepal, and what we're going to be talking about today is Kenya. My name is Nick Kershaw. I was the founder of Impact Marathon Series, and continue to be involved because it's just the best experience of my life and the most amazing journey that I could ever dream to be on. It's amazing because of you, the Impact runners, the people who are interested in Impact running, the people who believe that running has the power to change the world. It's been an incredible journey because of the countries we've been able to bring to light in entirely new ways each time. And it's been amazing because we've done some really great running along the way. And this Kenya race is no different from any of the other ones in that respect. An Impact Marathon is not just a race. In fact, we call the race the victory lap. It's the incredible celebration at the end of an extraordinary week. We spend an entire week living together, visiting projects, learning, listening, meeting each other, and getting to know each other throughout that week. We pick out countries and places, and we pick out ways to travel around the country that you would never get on any other experience. And that is rooted in our own love of travel, our own love of exploration, and our own love of linking communities into our actions and learning as we go. So the whole week is spent living together with your Impact runners. And on that final day, we run the race. But in between, We have an awful lot of different adventures. Most things go to plan. Every so often, things don't go to plan in any which way possible you can imagine. And that's really what makes this the most sort of extraordinary experience, and one that those returning runners will all tell you is pretty addictive once you get started. So today we're going to cover everything about Kenya Impact Marathon. It's actually our second race that we managed to set up when we started up Impact Marathon. A lot of that was to do with Five Talents and their projects in Kenya, and how special those projects are, and how focused the team here in the UK has been in terms of finding innovative ways to bring those projects to life. And when we're thinking in Kenya, when we're thinking about a new Impact Marathon location, we first focus on what is the social story. We focus on that. We also focus on looking for countries you'd never normally go to, or wouldn't know how to travel in, or that we can bring to life in a way that we don't see anybody else bringing to life, and that we've found something really special within that country. And so with Kenya, because of that history that we know exists with the runners, and because of little things like it has direct flights to the UK from the UK, which is a unique thing in the Impact Marathon series, or at least was back in 2015 when we started. And so it is a slightly more accessible country, but it's a country that we feel there's really special ways to bring it to life, and there's a massively important reason why we're there. And so personally, I've spent over a year of my life living across the different countries in East Africa, and I always wanted to bring a race to Kenya, even before the Impact Marathon dream ever really started to go. And the reason is that I saw that there was two main images of Kenya. Although when I say that, I also am aware that usually we kind of make that into Africa as if that continent wasn't made up of vastly different and unique nations. But that image that we tend to be exposed to in terms of Africa is one image is the wildlife, the Attenborough documentaries, the giraffe across the setting sun, that first picture on this webinar, and that side of things, which is, you know, an amazing part of why Kenya is such a remarkable country. The other side that we tend to see is the charity side, the ones you see on commercials on daytime TV, the ones we see on comic relief nights, and these types of images, and ones that focus on the poverty across the region. And I'm both those images are there. Both those images are real, but they're not the images that made me fall in love with Kenya, and they're not the images that any of the trips I've organized out there have been looking to focus on, because the goal was to show Kenya in a totally unique and totally different way. And even this picture you can see, that's not an image that you necessarily would relate to in terms of when you think of Kenya. You don't necessarily think of the lush rolling hills and the tea plantations, although we do have the acacia trees in there again. And so the whole dream was to bring a different region to Kenya to life. This means that we're able to tell a story that's not being told, and take you to a place that you can't experience really in any other way. And Kericho, which is the region of Kenya that we work in, we'll be visiting, really hits that. So that's how we kind of ended up with Kenya. It was a really obvious place from a running perspective to want to put on a race, but I didn't want to do it unless we could show a new unique side to the country, and one that you wouldn't see any other way. And so for that reason, we mix that in. That gives us the country. Then once we get to a country, we're looking for three main things. We're looking for the social purpose and the reason and the impact that we can have in the country. We're looking for what can we do during the week that makes it really awesome. And we're looking for an epic trail running course, because in the end, the running is the thing that unites all of us. Everybody on the trip is passionate about running, is passionate about the impact that running can have in our lives. And so we want to celebrate that on that final day. And it's not like it's a normal race. And I'll come on to the reasons why a bit towards the later on in the webinar. But those are the three things we're going to cover today, as well as all of the pricing, which is new for the new race in 2021. And we've got quite a few things that we're planning and building at the moment. It's a little way away. It's a year away. So we've got lots of things in the works. Some of the things that you're hearing today may be tweaked and twerked as we go along throughout the year. And that's part of the fun. We've seen a few things we want to really hone in on. But the one thing that remains the same is always that the social story is the center, and 5 talents are the people that are bringing that to life. So I just want to throw over to Hannah from 5 Talents, who's been working there. I don't know how many years, but certainly every year that I've been working with 5 Talents, Hannah has been ever present. And Hannah can give you an idea of exactly why they chose Kenya as the place for the marathon, and the work that they do, and the power and the impact that this race has in the community. So over to you, Hannah.
Great, thank you, Nick. It's nice to be here this evening. I actually had, I was really lucky opportunity to run the first marathon that Impact Marathon did in Kenya. I think it was back in 2017. So it's really exciting to be here tonight talking about going back to Kenya and putting that race on again. So yeah, so as Nick says, I'm Hannah. I work at 5 Talents. We're a small organisation here in the UK. I'm one of 6 staff. And 5 Talents really exists to help people in rural areas of not just Africa, but around the world to grow small businesses. We started in Kenya just over 10 years ago. We've got 5 different programs in Kenya, including the one in Kericho, which was started in 2016. We work with partner organizations. So when you take part in the marathon, you'll meet Emmy and her team, who are wonderful. And the work that we're doing in Kericho and across Kenya is to support people in rural communities to begin savings and loans groups. So one of the challenges that often people in rural areas in a country like Kenya face is there's a lack of formal employment. So people often pursue informal employment, but it's often a struggle to find the capital, the resources to start their businesses. And often people haven't had the opportunity to go to school. So these are real challenges for people, and this really limits what people can achieve. So we support people to begin savings and loans groups. So saving means that previously you probably didn't have access to a bank account. It's very difficult to open a bank account in these circumstances. Maybe you're illiterate, maybe you don't have the funds to open a bank account. So the group comes together, everybody saves together, and then they make loans to each other from the pooled resources in the community. And we've seen over the 10 years or so that we've worked in Kenya, this lead to huge change in communities. And I can talk a bit more about that in a moment. So as well as that, the team in Kericho, so there's 5 staff in Kericho, and they provide training to these groups as well. So there's about 800 members in the program in Kericho at the moment. So every week, sometimes every month, the staff will visit the groups. They'll provide training on how to identify a good business opportunity, how to work out if your business is profitable, and also teaching a lot about resilience, actually, which means if something goes wrong, how do you manage that situation and how do you protect yourself against that? Because for the people we work with, that's a real challenge they face. And obviously we're sat here in a kind of COVID time, and that's been a huge challenge for some of the members of the program in Kericho. But actually also Kericho is affected by drought. Kericho can be affected by flooding. So these people face many different challenges, and we want to help them grow their businesses to help them weather that storm, as well as provide basics for their family. So whether that be education for their children, nutritious food, all of these things that everybody around the world values and is important. The team in Kericho is a really ambitious team. I'm sure Nick might talk a little bit about them later. They're wonderful, and they have a huge vision to not just continue the work that they're doing, but also to expand it. Kericho is a beautiful place. When you arrive, you'll drive along these amazing roads with tea plantations either side and incredible green scenes. It's a stunning place. But also there exists many areas of Kericho where people for many decades have been marginalized. Perhaps people have not had the chance to go to school, perhaps they're illiterate. And it's these people that our program really seeks to try and reach through the work that we do. Recently, actually, last week I was talking to Emmy, who's the leader of the program in Kericho, and she was saying that recently with particularly the lockdown in Kenya, less so actual COVID, but the lockdown has had a huge impact. It's been really difficult for people to manage. And she was sharing some stories with me about people who had grown businesses, and that had helped them kind of weather this storm. They'd had training about, diversifying your business, looking for new opportunities. She told me particularly about a group of women who had very quickly decided that actually they were going to adapt what they were doing. There was now, as you might imagine, and as indeed we experienced here, I'm in the UK, huge demand for things like soap. So this group decided that actually they were going to use their group's resources to begin making soap. And so Emmy sent these wonderful photos, which I'll share with Nick, and maybe he can share with the rest of you, of this group working together to make this bright green luminous soap, which apparently was very popular, and which they've sold out, and they've made a profit, and now they're going to continue making more. And so this has a huge impact on people's lives. We particularly target women, seek to work with women because they're people who are more likely to be financially excluded, meaning they don't have access to financial services, but we know they're also more likely to not have received a formal education. They're more likely to be marginalized in the society. So yeah, I think there was an opportunity for kind of Q&A later, so please feel free to ask more questions. But the previous 2 marathons that have taken place in Kericho have been an incredible opportunity for, I think, people from the UK or from around the world to see the work that's happening in Kenya, but also it's a huge encouragement to the team in Kericho to see all of these people come wanting to know more about Kericho, wanting to know more about Kenya, and also wanting to help this program grow. Through Impact Marathon, we've been able to expand our work in Kenya enormously in the last few years, so it really does make a huge difference. So yeah, I hope that you will join us in Kenya.
Awesome.
Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, Hannah. Thank you. And yeah, definitely Emmy alone, I could do a whole webinar on the fun times I've had with Emmy and the character that she is and the ambition and care and love that she puts into her work every single day. For sure, the team that we'll be visiting with in Kericho, just as with every organization we work with in Impact, we've been, it inspires us to keep doing what we're doing, even through what is some super difficult times in a travel and events organization. When we talk and we meet up and chat with the people who the programs have been supporting and will be supporting, it really is something that touches us and continues to drive us every day. We can't talk about this race without talking about the elite running heritage of Kenya. And when we tend to find programs that want to, where it's a case of where to learn how to run your personal best and all of these types of things, and the town of Iten comes up a lot. And Iten is a remarkable place, and it's full of incredible athletes. However, when we met with the runners in Kericho, we felt amazingly at home. And the Kericho stable is one that is smaller, a lot smaller than Iten, but has a lot of running heritage. The first African gold medalist came from Kericho town. It's an undiscovered gem, and it is a brilliant place for running. The tea plantations offer up miles and miles of incredible altitude running that just is a breeding ground of great champions. Currently in the stable that we work with, and when I say stable, I mean that the group of athletes that train in Kericho, they're trained by a man called Coach Gabriel. We've got a blog on him that you must read. He's a character all of himself. He's there in the background. You can see him on this picture. He's got his stopwatch in hand. He never goes anywhere without his stopwatch. I feel like he's always timing me to eat chapatis and everything. So Coach Gabriel will be your coach for the week. He gets involved in teaching you more about how they've managed to run. If you're not a super keen runner, that's okay. This race has had a lot of. It's been our most varied race in terms of running ability. Just learning and getting to run and getting the experience of running with elites is an experience that any runner of any ability will gain so much from and enjoy. And the runners themselves in Kershaw, and this is the reason why I find Kershaw such an inspiring place to run, have really taken this race and taking impact and taken the goals of Five Talents to heart, and they're very, very welcoming. In fact, I spent my Christmas day and birthday, is the same day for me, there this year, and I just had the most amazing Christmas day, early morning run. Then we went out and ate a load of goat together. It was amazing. And a lot of this came from a really big mistake I made early on when I first arrived in Kershaw, which was hearing the words that anyone can join a race and this would be a good idea. So I joined a race the day after I arrived in Kershaw, and I turned up in the morning on the Saturday, and it was a 10-kilometer race. And I was the only non-elite athlete there. And I don't need to tell you too much, but I came last. And I came last by 12 minutes, despite running a 44-minute 10K, which is not a bad time for a 10K. In fact, in my first kilometer, I thought I was going super, super slowly. I thought I'm pacing it. Everyone else, they can go ahead of me. That's no problem. I'll keep within myself. I turned out I ran a 3-minute 43 kilometer, which is the fastest I've ever run to this day. And I paid for that later in the race. That's not what this race is. This race is not an elite only race. The Impact Marathon is where the elites saw how bad a runner or believed I was a terribly bad runner. And so every day after that, they knocked on my door at 6 a.m., woke me up and made sure I came out and trained with them. And because of that, seeing that struggle, which involved my girlfriend at the time standing at the finishing line, begging them to keep the finishing line open, and me being handed water from the truck that was sweeping the course. It was terribly humbling, but what it did was allow us to open up a relationship that couldn't have happened any other way. You only connect the dots backwards. And so from then on, they really took the whole Impact Marathon dream to heart. And so because of that, we've managed to build up this incredible relationship, which brings so much to what this week is all about. Once you've visited those Five Talents projects, and then you get this chance to run. And now, actually, this picture's taken from last year when we were up at a teacher training college. Since then, the track in Kershaw has been finished. So this year we'll be running on their brand new elite track. That is the runners there are super, super excited about, and I know it will bring more of the great talent that is around Kenya to come and train in Kershaw. It's a big moment. So next year we'll be doing, it's about an hour and a half with them on the track. Coach Gabriel comes down. He tells you times that you're going to have to hit. Nobody ever hits them. It's all fine. And we just have a huge amount of fun. And towards the end, they put on a bit of a race themselves, and you get to see really up close and personal some of the fastest runners in the world. When I say that, we've got Bernard Rotich, Peter Karui, Beatrice Chepkoech, who broke that 3,000 meter world record in the steeplechase by 8 seconds. She's a world record holder, world champion. She came down and led the warm up that day. She wants to be more involved in the future. Bernard Rotich is the man I spent Christmas with, Dublin and Belfast marathon champion. Peter Karui, bronze medalist at the Commonwealth Games in 10,000 meters. We're talking about some of the finest runners, and they're there to teach you and meet you, and you'll learn a lot from them, and you'll have a lot of fun with them, and you'll understand a bit about what it takes to be a true champion in a country where there is a lot of elite runners. To stand out and to be winning on the global level from within Kenya, just to get selected for that national team is extraordinarily hard. And in terms of getting the chance to spend an hour and a half with a world record holding coach, you think about how much that would cost in the UK, the US, or around the world to spend time with one of those coaches. If you can even get that time with Coach Gabriel, he will happily even meet up with you afterwards if you stay around, and talk to you about what he saw in your running technique and everything. So you've got the altitude, you've got the tea plantations, you've got the track. We spend a day on the track, a morning on the track. We also have a crack of dawn run that's led through the tea plantation. So it's on the exact same path where those gold medals and those wins have been forged. And then also we have a Q&A session on one of the afternoons where you'll get your chance to ask, whether it's food, whether it's training plans, whether it's mentality, all of those different things. And we'll have a panel of those runners be with us. So that's a bit about the elites. I am, as always, running behind schedule because I love talking about all of these different stories about what makes an impact marathon. Very quickly, safari. I said before that we don't desperately try and incorporate this into the trip, but there are 3 different opportunities where you can add on a safari. The first one is beforehand. We have Nairobi is the only capital city in the world with its own national park, or at least was when I last checked out on that fact. Don't fact check me too much. And so you can go beforehand. We have an amazing one-day adventure where you head out into the safari park there. We have during race week, we have the opportunity to go to Lake Nakuru National Park, which is where I took this photo last year. It's famous for its rhinos, its flamingos, and we also had an amazing experience that day with the giraffes. And then after race week, you've got the Masai Mara. And that's an option and is really is the most remarkable safari you can go on. I'm going to move on from there because rhinos are self-explanatory. They're awesome. Of course you want to go see a rhino, but we've got a lot of different options and you can definitely talk to us about that going into it. And I've been on quite a lot myself. I've guided some safaris over the years, so I'm really happy to talk you through those options. It's definitely a shame not to go to Kenya and find a way to bring in that experience because it's pretty remarkable. Athletes Village. Now, this is a unique one. The impact marathons, we always thought the Athletes Village is a really important part of what makes this experience. We always make sure that we're all staying in the same place. This community, we say that you come for the running, you return for the people. The community is what makes an impact marathon. So when we pick the athletes villages, when we pick where we're going to stay, we're really thinking about the energy. We're thinking about where we're going to be able to connect with each other, how to do that. Now, Kenya stands apart, and this is probably a positive for most people in that we don't have any of the normal different package options and different camping options. This is a hotel-based race in the Impact Marathon series, and that's partly to do with what's available. It's really mainly to do with what's available, and it's what's to do with how the energy can flow through the week. But the Athletes Village is what makes it really, really special. And so we know that people who come on Impact Marathons are up for adventure. We know that luxuries are not something that people are expecting, and fortunately we don't always deliver on luxuries, but we do think about things from a super basic level. We want people to eat well, we want people to sleep well, we want people to be clean enough. Okay, so things like hot water on this race, we can't guarantee it because there are problems along the way, but usually we find ourselves with enough hot water. This one, we also make sure is that safe, it's sanitary. I know people worry about these sorts of things when they travel abroad. We do everything we can to, and especially now as well, we do everything we can to ensure that. So we want you to sleep well, we want you to eat well, and you want to be as clean as possible. With Kenya, we start off in Nairobi, and we have quite a nice hotel in Nairobi. It's a good welcome. You can sleep off your jet lag, and we try and make sure that first night is as nice as possible, and you can really relax. And there's probably a pool there, and all of these types of things that mean that you can just get your head into, okay, I'm in Kenya for the first time, or however many times. Then, because of the work of 5 Talents, we want to go to where those projects are, and therefore as throughout the week you'll start to see the hotels may have a bit less quality than they do on the first night, and you'll be staying in some places that are slightly unique, shall we put it that way, but the basics are covered and you're going to be really comfortable and happy there. But it does mean that unlike other ones, there is only one package here. It's a shared room. We offer a single supplement as well. If you do want to have your own room, that's totally fine. And every single one of the locations is not far from amazing views like this, and is designed to bring you to a different part of Kenya you'd never normally go, and to bring that to life. So we all stay in the same place. We all eat together. We all move around together, and all of that. So when it comes to food, and Kenya's got so many different amazing foods, and you'll get to experience most of them throughout the week. Within the team, mandazis, which is like a sort of savory donut, and chapatis are eaten basically religiously every day. The national staple of ugali, which the elite runners will tell you is one of the keys to their diet. In fact, when we used to live in the team house with our Kenyan team members, I once cooked up a spaghetti bolognese. I was really chuffed with it, only to see one of them pop into the kitchen to whisk up a bit of ugali to go with the bolognese sauce. Ugali is ground up maize, and you'll get to have that. My favorite dish in Kenya is nyama choma, which is the Swahili word for roast meat, and that is, fall off the bone, slow cooked meat. Absolutely stunning, and we always make sure it's from local sources. So that's something that we're going to be talking about a bit in the future in terms of our Green World program. We're spending more and more time working with the different places where we eat to make sure that our food is as sustainable and locally sourced as is humanly possible. We lower the amount of meat. The meat really on this race will be after the race day is over, and that's when we'll have it. When it comes to dietary requirements, anything you need obviously let us know and we'll plan for it. And so we'll be planning ahead on that. We've prided ourselves on not only making sure that the food you eat fits your dietary requirements, but actually that the food you eat is really good ahead of race day, is super varied, and gives you that Kenyan feel to the food as well. So we don't just tick the box and say, okay, this person's gluten-free, great, none of this has gluten in. We think about what you're eating and why it's important, and we also think about the sourcing of that food as well. So we're over this time during our pause in our operations, Bethany and I have been spending a lot of time looking at these types of things and how to really deliver on an incredible experience, no matter what you're coming to an impact marathon with behind you. And if that's a dietary requirement, or if that's language, or if that's all of the different questions around identity, we're looking to be able to deliver on a high level on all of that. And certainly when it comes to food, that's one of the great experiences of travel. And any dietary requirements, as long as you let us know, we'll be on top of that throughout the week. And I think you'll feel very well looked after, I think is the best way of putting that. Race day. I'm just going to take a little drink. So the route is always changing. Every year we look at the route again. It may change again this year. The tea plantations change each year, and we have new ideas and concepts we want to deliver. But what I'm going to talk you through is basically there won't be too much deviation from this come September next year. However, we may change different elements of the route and find and explore the tea plantation more and more. The story of our routes is that when we design a marathon, we don't just look, and for the record, we have 10 kilometer, 21 and 42 kilometers available. So if you don't want to do the 42, if that seems a bit intimidating, we have 10 kilometer. This race, we've had people come along and walk that 10 kilometer race because it's so spectacular. They've come along and been involved just on the 10 kilometer. There's no judgment. There's nothing like that. We have such a varied amount of runners, and truthfully, the course is so hard that everyone's going to be walking that main hill. Trust me on that one. So the race takes place at about 2,000 meters of altitude. Throughout the 42 kilometer course, we've got around 1,200 meters to 1,500 meters of elevation. There are water stations every 3 kilometers on this route at the moment, and we'll have as well locally sourced bananas and fruits out on the course as well. Obviously, it's fully signposted, and it all takes place inside a private tea plantation. Now, even the story of how we ended up with Chejimot Tea Estate as our home is a story for that involves presidential elections and Supreme Courts and all sorts of different things going on in our first year of the race, which meant that 2 nights before the race, we realized that our first plan of race route was not a sensible or good route to be going on with what was happening in the country. Therefore, we had 24 hours to find a new route, and it just, as soon as we found it, we questioned why we hadn't found it before. It's an extraordinary place. What I love about it is the Rift Valley views. What I love about it is the fact that it's Kenyan owned and Kenyan run rather than the large multinational, which some of the plantations in that area are. So it's a Kenyan family, and Kim, who runs the family, you'll find him out on the course on his bike, cheering you on and regaling you with stories as you go around. He's been an amazing supporter of the race. The route tells the story. It tells the story of that region. We have village sections on the route. We have a bit of road, which is unusual for an impact marathon. We have some tough climbs in there, and then that climb up to that first view of the Rift Valley. I don't know. Every time I think about it, I get goosebumps, and I've done it I don't know how many times. When you reach the top of that hill and you look out and you see the entire Great Rift Valley, which runs across the whole of East Africa, it's just mind blowing. And then you head on down and through the plantations. It's a normal working day on the tea plantations, so the tea pickers are out there cheering you on and shouting at you. I will teach you not only Swahili, I'll also teach you a bit of Kalenjin, which is the local tribal language. If you can shout out some Kalenjin words, both to the runners in the region or the tea pickers, you're going to get a massive amount of love and care throughout the way. So the route winds its way through the plantation. And it truly is a remarkable running route. There's brilliant bits where you can find a good rhythm. There's other bits where it's a tough sort of single track section. It's got a bit of everything, and it's very special in terms of weather that we expect on the day. When the sun is out in Kericho, you expect it to be mid-20s. So it can Celsius. I know we've got some Americans on the call. It's mid-20s and it's blue skies and beautiful. However, Kericho is a place of lush greenery. We have on one of our race years had quite a lot of rain. We do anticipate there being some rain on the race day at some point throughout the week, throughout the race day. We don't know, but definitely it's one of those courses that challenges us in a new way every single year, whether that's conditions underfoot, whether that's the weather. This is a really incredible race route. And if you love being challenged, you're going to love it. So that's what happens that's the course. The elites, we do a little thing with Coach Gabriel where he selects a group of elites to come down, and it's invite only type of event, because we just want to hone in on that spirit of running together with others for others. So when those runners come down, it's sort of surreal because year one, I remember Caroline Killel was the 2011 Boston Marathon champion, and she came and paced a runner to 5 hours or so. The runners there, you will already have done the track day. You'll have already done the run with them. They will be know your names. You'll know their names, and the spirit on that course and the energy and the fact that we've done it as laps as well means you've just got this incredible little epicenter of impact running that happens on that race day. And at the end, we have a big Nyama Choma roast. We give out some gifts to the runners. That's been everything from GPS watches onwards over the years. And there's just so much energy and love and this passion for running that runs through every single impact runner, runs through all of the Kenyan elites. And it just makes for a truly special race day. The course itself is challenging. It's technical. But there's moments there where you just have a smile on your face. It's just one of those routes where you just smile as you go around. There are more toilets than a normal impact marathon race. We have, because we're in the tea plantation, there's the tea plantation workers' toilets around the course. As I said, we've got the medics. I'll come on to that in a second. We've got the medics out on the course. We've got the water stations out on the course. I would say whatever your marathon time is, add an hour. And if you like taking photos and you want to just enjoy the experience, add an hour and a half to what you would normally run on a road marathon at least, and just go out there and just enjoy it. As I said at the start, it's like a victory lap. It's just going out there and experiencing what is an amazing country, an amazing place, and the amazing work of 5 talents. I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to quickly talk to you about duty of care. Like, this is really important to us. This is an unusual race in that we get to know all of you throughout the week. We get to really know you. And that means that you're not a number. A normal race, you turn up, you get given a number, and if anything goes on, you're a number. You're not to us. You're an impact runner, and we'll know your names. Sometimes we'll know your motivations as to why you joined us. We'll know all of those different things. And it really matters to us, not only that you get back safe, but that you have an incredible time. So for that reason, we work with the XR medics. We've worked with them on every single race that we've done. They're with us through the whole week. So you can drop in with a clinic with them after dinner every single night through the week. And the run up to the race, you can go and say, I've got a niggle on my right knee. They'll look after it. I'm nervous about running at altitude. They'll talk to you. I've read this on a blog. They'll tell you not to do it. And these guys are are the best adventure medics in the world. We've never done a race without them. I don't intend to do a race without them. And they're brilliant. So the whole course is coverable. Most of it is coverable by vehicle. There are sections where if you know where you were to need to be taken off that section, you'd be on a motorbike because of the trail section. But we have a lot of support. We have the tea pickers around the course. We have the tea plantation staff. We have Kim and his family, the owners, and then you have obviously the impact team and the XR medic team all working together to have eyes all over the course, and we make sure we take care of you on that respect. And that's the case throughout the week. We have the XR medics who live with us, who visit the projects with us. They'll get to know you throughout the week, and I think that's what makes the spirit on the race day really good. And when you're struggling and you get to a point like this and you see faces that you know smiling at you with a banana. Oh yeah, bananas. Bananas is a funny one. We learned a lesson here. Monkeys steal bananas. Cliche, I know. First year, we had a lot of bananas stolen by monkeys at the aid stations. We now have a plan of how to stop monkeys in the bananas. It turned out the XR medics are brilliant at everything, but they hadn't had experience of stopping monkeys getting bananas. Anyway, we solved it, don't worry. But first year, that was a bit of an adventure. We had to get a bit of an extra banana supply mid-race. And transport through the week as well. We've worked with the same people for our last 3 years working in Kenya, and all of those things we take care of. We look after you throughout. And if you want to ask any more in terms of details, in terms of how we run our organization, Bethany, who runs our logistics side, is the person to talk to. Going backwards, just really quickly. What's time? Yeah, I'm running way over again. Bolt-ons. We are offering Nairobi one day. We're offering Masai Mara safaris. We're offering Mombasa, which is an amazing place to go to the beach, and it's got a totally different culture and the spice markets. We're also bringing back this one, Kilimanjaro. Will be on offer if you want to double up and run a marathon and then climb Kili. It's been done before, and so it makes for a really amazing event. And also we're looking at whether people might be interested in going to Zanzibar afterwards. It's pretty awesome. If you like kite surfing, if you like fresh fish, if you like lying on a beach, Zanzibar is about as good as it gets. That's it. I'm going to now quickly cover the package that we're offering in 2021. It is very similar to what we've been offering before. We've added in a few extra things this year. So we will be doing this as a first release. We know that the costs are going to be going up considerably throughout the year from COVID, but we wanted to keep our opening price to you guys who've pre-registered. We wanted to keep this as accessible and as low and as close to what we've done before as possible. So this is it was pretty much exactly the same as what it's been in previous years. So the price will be rising after the first release, and we'll be confirming when we send out the registration. It's pre-registration period now. You are all entered into pre-registration just simply by having signed up to this webinar. You'll have access, which will guarantee you first release. And within that, all of your accommodation is covered through the itinerary. All of your food is covered that's in the itinerary. Your race entry, obviously we've got stash, and I'll come on to that in a second. Medals, all of these things, the in-country transport, the project visits, and the run coaching is all included in the 945 price. So, yep, that's it. It's covered by our 2020 booking policy, which means you can, at any point, you can move to another race. Whatever you've paid, deposit, balance, whatever you paid will get transitioned to any race at any time with no questions asked. That means that, yeah, it's a very good and flexible policy. We're truly honored that so many people have continued registering with Impact Marathon through this period. We know that takes a bit of an extra leap for people at the moment, and we're so grateful for that. So the 2020 policy is meant to be as flexible as possible. At checkout, when you sign up to that package, when we release it, which will be in 2 weeks' time, you'll be able to add a single supplement when you've got your own room. You'll be able to add the one-day visits, hotel nights if you want to come a day or two earlier and explore Nairobi, or catch up with friends you know in Nairobi. All sorts of different things have happened. And also we are encouraging, not just offering, but encouraging everybody to carbon offset throughout. We are about to release our Greenwell program, which will go into more detail as to what that is involved in that, but that will be available at checkout, and we want to make that something that you all get involved in, and we'll tell you why in the weeks ahead. And I said the bolt-on options are there as well. Bespoke wise as well, if you want to carry on, you want to do some more training with elites and do another week or two up there, there's loads we can do. Just ask us and we can make it happen. All the bookings are payable online, and major currencies, euro, US dollars, Canadian dollars, and Swiss franc, and obviously British pound are all accepted. that first release will be that first opening month. So you'll be able to get the first release price until the 15th of October. After that, we'll be having our second release packages and prices, and it will go up. I'm going to do one quick thing. We're going to have on the 17th, we're working on a partnership with these guys, Ender Sports. I personally wear a pair of those beautiful yellow trainers when I run. This is a Kenyan running organization, and they're building up amazing kit. And as I said, I wear the stuff myself. We'll be working with these guys. Their thing was there's so much attention around Kenyan running, but the majority of Kenyans do not benefit from that. And they wanted to bring economic benefit and use sustainable materials in their trainers and all of these types of things. So that will be involved in the launch offer. I can't say any more than that because we're still discussing it ahead of when we launch, but definitely something that you'll want to be getting. So with that, I looked at my phone and Holly has sent me over some questions. Excellent. Good questions. Is there any risk of encountering wild animals on the course? Monkeys. There are definitely monkeys on the course. They don't tend to be interested in you whatsoever. We've no worries about it, but definitely they're actually called blue-balled monkeys. If you're wondering why they're called blue-balled monkeys, it's because they have blue balls. And when you see them, they are quite a sight. So just at one time, I opened up my window in the cottage we were staying in, Kericho, and we had dinner and the window in the kitchen was open, and I looked into the kitchen, saw the monkeys in there, went running to like shoo them out, and they'd gone through our pantry, and you'll never guess, as opposed to bananas, which we've already covered, which is a cliche for a monkey. They had stolen a bag of peanuts, and I laughed. I mean, if monkeys are stealing your peanuts, they had everything else. What you know now is that Kenyan guys make ugali instead of eating my spaghetti, and Kenyan monkeys steal my peanuts instead of stealing my food. So potentially don't eat food cooked by me. Don't know if that's the moral of the story. How are you handling the uncertainty with travel given COVID? So we have two major things that we want to make sure happens in terms of our races in terms of COVID. One is that we want to be able to travel to and from the country without impediment. So we don't want you guys to be stuck in Kenya, or all of these types of things. So when we're talking about COVID from the perspective of travel, we're talking about it from the perspective of being really responsible in terms of, can we travel to and from the country without concerns? The next thing, and this is, I guess, something that's a bit unique to how we work, is that we're focused on the communities. We've put the community central to what we do and the social stories. We want to know that this race is going to have a net positive impact on the community. If we feel like at this time there's challenges in the community and this would be a burden to them, then we will delay the race and we will come back at a time when it's actually really appropriate and we can go back to having those positive impacts that we know that we've been delivering for the last 5 years. So one, can you travel to and from the country? Two, are we going to have a really positive impact in this community? We're not driven by making sure an event happens. We're not a travel organization taking you to Magaluf for a beach weekend. Our focus is on the communities and making sure that this event has the power of an impact marathon. So once those two things are fulfilled, we'll go ahead of it. We've also shown throughout this period that we're very happy to get out ahead and give you forewarning. And we're going to be transparent and open and talking to you guys. That's why we've put the booking policies as flexible as we have. At any time you can move to a different race or delay to the next year. We understand that even if we're comfortable, potentially you're coming from a country of origin where you're concerned that you might be someone who could be someone who spreads it into Kenya. For that reason, you might not feel comfortable going. You might not feel responsible going. We truly respect and want to honor that. And so that's why we've put in that policy in terms of COVID. Are there any required vaccines like yellow fever for travel to Kenya? Yes, yellow fever is certainly something that they check at the airport. In terms of other vaccines you'll need, malaria pills are recommended, highly recommended. So, yep. But what we would say as well is, as I'm not a medical professional, I've traveled a lot. I have experience of it all, but your body and what your country recommends is also different. So make sure you visited a travel nurse or your doctor before travel and go ahead with the recommendations. But yes, certainly yellow fever is something that often gets checked at the airport. How hot is it on race day? I think I covered that. It's about 20 degrees Celsius. to 25, 26 degrees Celsius. It can tip a bit hotter, and we start fairly early in the morning, so you won't be feeling those temperatures till later in the race when you know you're most struggling. But yeah, we try and get as many kilometers done in the cool as possible, and then as it gets hotter, we should be starting to finish off the race. But you can expect it to be in the mid-20s. Is there a cutoff for the marathon? There will be, but it will be very generous. And because of the lap system on the course as well, you will definitely have experienced the lap at least once, if not more. It is normally depends on a few things. It depends for us with Kenya. We'll be judging it through the week in terms of when we think rain will be coming, because rain tends to come later in the afternoon, or sometimes it doesn't come at all. It's not always most predictable, but so we're fairly relaxed on it. If we feel you're looking good and you're able to keep cracking on, we don't tend to cut off people unless we have to. If we do, yeah, it's because you're way behind schedule in terms of what's safe. We'll be telling you that closer to the time exactly what the cutoff will be. And obviously the race briefing that we do the day before will give you a better idea as well of cutoff. But if you're finishing the marathon in under 8 hours, you'll be okay. So that's it. Holly, do you have any other questions there? And there's another question coming in. It's been great to have you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. I've managed to click onto that. Let's finish on these athletic looking Kenyans. That's all. Thank you so much for joining. As I said, you are all now pre-registered, and you'll get the email that tells you when things are going live and the updates. That will be happening two weeks from now on the next Wednesday. Wednesday and another. Was it? I think it'll be 17th of September, 17th of October. Registration, the first release will go live. After that, yep. It's over to you guys. But you can message us at any time. My email address is nick@impactmarathon.com, and you can message me any questions at all in the run up to that. Obviously connect on Instagram. Make sure you're following us across social media. We'll be updating that. You're on the mailing list, so you'll get the updates now. And that is it. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this webinar, our second Impact Marathon webinar. We'll be doing, what do we want to do next? Nepal or Jordan? I will let you know and keep up to date. So guys, thank you so much for joining us. And with there, I shall end.